Welcome back. It's our Class 5A preview here on the OKPreps Round Up, powered by Excel Therapy. I'm your host, Michael Knight, joined alongside Ben Johnson. We talked with Lawton Mac head coach Brett Manning, as well as Collinsville head coach Kevin Jones in our last segment. We're going to talk a little Del City football now, as we are joined by their head coach, Nick Warehime, joins the program here. It's our 5A preview on the OKPreps Round Up. Coach, thanks for taking some time this morning to talk a little Del City football with us.
Absolutely. Appreciate the opportunity.
Well, we got to start with the quarterback because the quarterback's getting a lot of attention nowadays. Terry Wilson obviously committed to Nebraska back in May, getting attention from schools like Oregon, among many others. He's been starting now for several years for Del City. Going into his senior season, how have you seen him evolve over the last couple of years?
Well, I think in many ways. I mean, when he first came as leaving his 8th grade, we got him right before his 9th grade year. Like early June, he had some mechanics, and he's just continued to grow. I mean, now he's 6'3", 195. I mean, he ran a 22-1, 200. Leader, works hard, all the things that you hear about. But I think the thing that's the most of value, he wants to be coached. And, you know, in today's times, a lot of high-powered kids in America don't want to be coached. They think they have it figured out, and that's not him. He's like a sponge. He wants you to correct everything. Mm-hmm. In fact, last night I went to Sepulpa to watch scrimmages, and on the way home, I got a text from him on something that we do that's similar to a college, and he was watching the game. He sent it to me, sent me the motion, wanted to talk about it. It's constant with him, which is awesome in today's time.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Coach. Thanks for hopping on with us. That's kind of cool to know that at the college level, a lot of college and pro level, maybe the quarterbacks have more influence like that. But it's awesome to hear a high school quarterback, spending his Friday night when he's not playing, kind of figuring out how he is going to start winning on Friday night.
Absolutely. He's a high-character kid, and that's what's important.
And we talked earlier about, I know Michael has really made an emphasis of it here the last couple weeks about how difficult 5A1 is. As a coach, what's it like to have to go through that grind week in and week out?
Well, I think you're challenged every week, and it's maybe with our schedule because of conference ties, even though we're 5A, we open with 3 6A schools, including Midwest City. And then we get on the bus and go straight to Ardmore. I think it's maybe our first district game. And 3 out of 4 of the games are on the road. So you play 3 6A schools, 2 on the road, and then you come back and you jump on the bus, you go to Ardmore. And I think one thing that's kind of unique about that particular district is the travel. I think there's some great coaches in that, and it's not I don't know how it is in some of the other districts. We all get along. It's a bunch of guys that are trying to chase the same thing, let the West Side be successful, mm-hmm. And we're competitive on the field, and we communicate off the field. And we've built some really, really good rivalries, which is odd as all get out. I mean, I don't know that Lawton Mac and Del City had ever played until 3 years ago, but it's turned into a great rivalry. I mean, obviously not to the level of Midwest City, Del City, but with the respect level between the two programs, and maybe similar schools in a sense with clientele. Mm-hmm. We have Tinker Air Force Base. They obviously have Fort Sill. I mean, there's a lot of similarities between the schools, and that's turned into a great rivalry. This year we travel to Altus as well. So there's a lot of travel involved in it, but it's good football. And I think that showed in first round last year when we went 3-1 in the first round against the other West District.
Talking with Del City head coach Nick Warehime here. It's our 5A preview on the OKPreps Round Up. You mentioned going 3-1 in the first round. I think there's a chance 5A1 might go 4-0 in the first round of the playoffs this year. So loaded. You mentioned all the teams. We talked a little bit about Terry Wilson. What are some of the other guys around him? You have to replace Davion Freeman, who did a lot for you offensively as well as in special teams. Who are some of the other guys around Terry Wilson that are going to help this Del City offense fly?
I think in a different scenario for us, we graduate, Davion goes to Wyoming, and we had a couple of wideouts in a corner that went to NEO. We had 7 seniors on our football team last year. This year we have over 20. So the majority, we made it to the quarterfinals, got rammed by McAllister. They beat us the way they wanted to beat us. And as soon as the game was over, our kids said, "Coach, they're bigger and stronger than us." That was a difference in it. They out-executed us and all that kind of stuff. But physically, they beat us up. And our kids recognized that. And they went back to weight room. We played a lot of sophomores, a lot of juniors last year. The key, I think, offensively for us is Terry's Terry. He's going to do his. He's solid, really solid player. But we have 4 returning offensive linemen. In that, I think that can bode well for us if they'll continue to improve. And I believe in coaching when you're playing sports. Anything that you're doing, you are what you emphasize. And we know that we want to be able to run the football, to take pressure off him, to open up our play-action pass. Instead of going into a game, we got to go, okay, we got to throw it 45 times because we can't run the ball and knock anybody off the ball. So that's been our point of emphasis, and I think that's a difference maker for us.
Well, Coach, we're looking forward to seeing how Del City can compete. Always good talking with you, and really interested to see how Terry Wilson evolves. You talking about him watching some tape on a Friday night instead of hanging out with friends, and getting after his coach to see how he can incorporate that into the offense every single week. So good discussion with you here today, and I'm sure we'll catch up as the 2015 season rolls on.
Yes, sir. And you talked about Oregon. He has an Oregon offer, and he's flying up September 5th for an official.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, Nebraska fans might be a little concerned, but that definitely says something.
I don't think Coach Riley is really down with it, but when you're 17 years old, you need to go see opportunities, and it's a win-win for him. It's a win-win for Terry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us this morning, Coach.
Yes, sir. Bye.
That's Del City head coach Nick Warehime here. Terry Wilson once again. Look, Oregon doesn't come to Oklahoma very often. So when they do, they know who they like. And Terry going to go on an official visit September 5th, the Saturday right after week 1 of the high school football season. So looking forward to seeing how he progresses throughout the year. And interesting conversation with Coach Warehime.
Yeah, that's kind of cool to know that Terry Wilson is – kind of like I asked him, a lot of the high school quarterbacks, yeah, they're invested, but come, in a scrimmage Friday night, if they're not playing, it might be their last couple Friday nights to kind of hang out with friends, get away from football. Well, he's grinding, thinking of a play that maybe could come up big against Ardmore, against the Lawton Mac.
Right.
That's interesting stuff, and that's I would assume the characteristics of a leader, really.